If you want to look like a loser, play parlays. That shows them that you are stupid. And
You are frivolous with your money, and you will be their favorite kind of client because you're willingly taking a worse bet.
so even if you beat them, that algorithm will tell them, it's fascinating stuff, but that algorithm will tell them, even if you're beating them, this guy's an idiot. Hello and welcome to the Fat Jack Sports Hour. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host, the Fat Jack. Weekend is here. It's March. I think we're falling back. No, we're springing forward this week. My wife's birthday is Sunday. So much going on. Hopefully you're out there getting ready for the big tournaments coming up. Basketball season is in full swing. We got the draft coming up in the NFL. Combines behind us. We're going to get to all that, much more. It actually gets you one of the best specials I'm running all year long if you're wanting to make money betting on sports through the next year. Go to fatjacksports.com, get signed up, and in the meantime, let me bring in from Louisville, Kentucky, my co-host, Mr. Brandon Rush. Brandon, how are you?
Very glad to have the ick of just everything that was December, January, February kind of behind us. Like, the weather's getting better. I haven't heard about anyone being sick for like 10 days now. And aside from everything else in the world being a little crazy, at least that part of it's behind us. We're winning and everything seems to be on the up and up.
There's so many different ways that we could go after that. I
Mm,
mean, I could talk about Ukraine and Trump and everything. It's every day is a new thing with that, which
mm,
I'm loving.
mhm.
I'm loving the soap opera. It's like watching Bravo. Um, but or we could talk. What?
I was like, Real Housewives of the Potomac, but
No,
then I'm like, oh man, that is a real show. So yeah.
no, it is. I mean, it literally is like we're getting. It's unfiltered. It's literally like they've turned the cameras off and then they start talking. I love the heat. So the other thing is obviously basketball. We could talk about that.
Yep.
How it has not been a great couple weeks since the Super Bowl and the hoops. Um, I don't want to make excuses. We've had some bad picks for sure. And we did start out this week winning, so hopefully we're going to get things going. We are. I mean, March is going to be great. It's always great and a great time to get signed up. And it's only been a couple of weeks. And actually, I cranked the picks way back because, unfortunately, Brandon, in basketball, we'll hit these little cycles where, for whatever reason, if I could explain it, I would explain it away. But what I do is I minimize the damage, honestly.
Hmm.
And so, but basically, we were during the stretch from the Super Bowl through March 1st, we were 2-18 in games decided in the last 10 seconds of the game or overtime. So 2-18. So if those 20 games in a little over 2 weeks, if you just split, and we lost about, I don't know, 8 games, which is about 4 games overall in football because we play
Hmm.
half. You pay
Hmm.
so much less for hoops than you do football. So it's 4 overall games. Nobody's jumping off a building if they're losing 4 games if they're doing what we're supposed to be doing a week over a couple week period. But during those 20 games, if you just split those games, those toss up at the end of the game, we had a week ago or so, we had, who was it? Texas at Arkansas. Texas goes to Arkansas. They're getting 4.5 or getting 3.5. It was like a Wednesday. Goes down to the end. Arkansas has 2 free throws. They have to make both free throws to win. They make one of the free throws. It goes to overtime. They lose, and Texas lose by 4 in overtime. So we end up
Hmm.
losing with as a 3.5-point underdog. No, over. Not a big deal. But if you combine that after game after game after game, all these toss-up games are coming down the wrong side. Every one of them, just about. As I said, 2-18 out of 20. Then take away 8 wins and add it to 8 losses. It's a 16-game swing when you talk about just 8 of those into where it should. The great news about it is we've had multiple stretches during the year where we were on the right side of most of those games, and that built
Right.
a ton of profit. So it's not like we're in debt. We're just giving back some because of the bad luck.
Oh, well, and it's the cushion that's been built up because of how basketball traditionally has gone and had gone until this kind of brutal little stretch.
And then it will reverse back, and it doesn't have to
Yep.
reverse back to 18-2. It
No,
just has to
but like 14-6,
10-10.
12-8. Yeah, yeah.
10-10 puts us in profit over those 2 weeks. So it's just
Right.
there's such a fine line in basketball, and it's called variance. There's luck. Games come down to the wire, and when you lose, the majority of those things aren't going to go well. When you win, the vast majority of those things go incredibly well, where you're wanting to literally throw me a parade and build a statue. Most of the time, and when the dust settles over the course of the season, it's in the middle. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. Those won't matter. We'll have a lot more good picks than bad picks. We'll generate profit with those, and that's what's happened over the year. We're up in basketball. Not even talking about the other sports, which, Rand, a question for you. By the way, go to fatjacksports.com. We're into March. I have a great special running right now. If you're going to be betting on the games during March Madness and you know you're going to gamble during football season, now is the time to get signed up. And this only runs through this weekend. So if you call next week, you're not going to, don't call. If you go online next week, you're not going to get this same deal. Go to fatjacksports.com, sign up for the football season through the Super Bowl, $2,199, so about $70 a week, $65 a week during the season. You're going to get the baseball season for free, so subtract that from $60 a week during the football season or whatever it is. And you're also going to get the basketball through March Madness for free. So you're going to get basically the next month of hoops on me to build profit as we head toward football season. Primarily the people that will do this, I are hoping, are people that don't play basketball. They're football gamblers. They normally wait until the fall to sign up. They pay more money, but they don't have to pay until the fall. This rate, you're going to not pay for basketball. You're going to not play for baseball. So if you just bet that sum, just whenever you're doing nothing, or when first round of March Madness, or baseball over 4th of July when you're sick of hearing your in-laws talk about how whatever, politics or whatever they're talking about, and you just bet at some, you're going to be able to build profit before we get to football season. Also, you won't have to just pay the service fee once football starts, which then puts a little more added pressure on the first couple of 3 weeks of football, at least from a psyche standpoint, even if you're getting the whole thing. So a lot of reasons to take advantage of this because you can't take advantage of it in the fall. Now's the time. Go to fatjacksports.com, sign up for the football season. You get basketball for free. If you sign up for the combo season, it's a better deal because if you sign up for the combo season, you're paying nothing for hoops right now anyway. Yeah, so if you sign up in the fall, you're not getting the benefits of all of this profit. And honestly, if you sign up right now, even for the combo package, you're not paying for the basketball through the entire spring into the summer, and you're not paying for baseball because if you wait, you're going to pay more. So a ton of reasons to get signed up now, not to mention paying out the service fee, all those different options that you have now that you just simply won't have later on, adding the other sports, which is what brings me to my actual point about the basketball. Doing that now saves you about $2,000 versus waiting until the fall. They're very, very profitable. We talk about players props, talk about soccer. UFC was 5-0 again on last Saturday. So, but when you talk about especially the UFC and the players props in the soccer, those are very profitable. Prices are going to go up on those packages we get through the summer because I don't handicap the soccer. So to get these plays, I have guys that I have a relationship with, and right, wrong, or indifferent, they have won every single week that we've released soccer plays since June, except 3. They've had 3 losing weeks in soccer since June. Those of you who
Talking
don't
8 months worth of selections.
Those of you that don't like soccer, suck on that. Who cares whether you like soccer or not? Who cares? What the difference is? They've made so much money. 3 losing weeks since June. Guys, it's March. We're almost back. We're almost back to June. They've lost 3 weeks.
There's another one coming around. Another June's coming, yeah.
So fortunately or unfortunately, these guys are going to want to get paid. So if you want soccer, if you want to continue winning at soccer, your best thing you can do is lock in the rate now because I had 1-year deal with them. And that works through June. So you sign up now, you're going to pay the lowest rate. If you wait until fall, we're like, hey, I think I'll do some soccer with this football. You're going to pay a lot more. And you know what? I can't blame them. It's not like that. I entered into an agreement with these guys and they've been okay. If they've been okay, I say no, forget it. We're staying there. I'll go find somebody else to do okay at soccer. But when you've only had 3 losing weeks, the money talks, Brandon. I mean, it's hard for me to say anything bad because they just keep making money. So that's kind of my question. So before we put a bow on on February, is that kind of how this got started? If you signed up, let's just take Wednesday. You're a client Wednesday. And that last Wednesday, and you had that Arkansas Texas bad beat. You went 0-2 or 1-1 in basketball. And here's a better way of phrasing it. From a service standpoint, if I had that day, Wednesday, and I went 1-1 in basketball, had the bad beat with Arkansas and Texas, and I went 2-0 in soccer, am I a winning hand? Did we win? Is that a winning day or not a winning day?
If the tick goes up and right, That's a win. So if it's half a unit, if it's a unit, you're still making money.
If I am a member of the service last Saturday and I went 2-3 in basketball and 5-0 in the UFC, am I a winning hand? Is that a winning day for me as a service, or is that a losing day for me as a service?
That is a winner, up and to the right.
I only say this because I don't think some people actually understand where the gauge is from myself. From a service standpoint, what I'm gauging things on. Here's my point. I bet every single play that I release. So if you get an email from me, if you're a client and you get an email from me, I have money on that. And most likely, I don't know anybody that bets more than I do. There might be a client or two. The soccer guys, I know they bet more on their soccer than I'm betting on their soccer. So let's not count them, because they do get my football and basketball, whatever. There's a different relationship. But
You're betting more on football and basketball than they are.
guaranteed. Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. They've been around like 4 years, so they know. Even this last football season wasn't great. They made a ton of money off my sports. Or 3 years, I should say. Yeah, 3 years. Going on 3 years. Anyway, they've lived through a couple of football seasons, so they know that long term I make a lot of money in football. And so my point is that if you're out there and you're a client or you're not a client, and you're trying to gauge whether I'm winning or not, if I have a 2-week run in basketball where I charge less than $20 a week and it's free for longer term clients when they sign up long term, I have a bad run in hoops for a couple weeks. But during that time, soccer makes money. If we're during football season and players prop make money and UFC makes money and all these other things, I'm not sad at all, because my bankroll is going up. If I'm betting, and so I guess my point is that right now in the month of March, you have an opportunity to do some things to add some of these other sports that you don't care about. And I'm not telling you should like soccer, or
You don't even have to watch the game after you place the bet.
I would be willing to bet at this point 75% of the guys on the soccer package, and I have hundreds now, are not watching a minute of soccer. I know a lot of them are, because I know.
And some of them you can't even find on TV unless you have certain TV packages.
You got to get up at 4 a.m. or whatever. We were
Right.
the other day. We were up. It was 7 o'clock in the morning where I was.
We're up 2 games.
We're already up a couple games. I'm like, what are these people doing? And then I realized, well, okay, they're in wherever playing in the afternoon, I guess. And so we're up 2 units. I'm still sleeping. So the point is that if you want to make the most money, you want to limit variance. When I go through a stretch of bad luck in hoops for a couple of weeks, not the year, we're still winning. Mm-hmm. We're winning in March. We're going to have a big run. But if you want to limit that where that doesn't matter, add these other sports now, because they cost a ton less money than waiting. All right, FatJackSports.com. Get signed up today. As we head into March, Brandon, what do you want to talk about? You want to talk about the basketball tournaments coming up? I've got some stuff, but we probably need to talk some sports before I go to it.
I mean, it is the final weekend of the regular season for college basketball. The conference tournaments start Monday, and some of the formats for the conference tournaments are like the old. If you ever watched bowling on TV back in the day, how it was just this gladiator gauntlet of, there's basically 12 or 16 entries, and then like there's a game, and the winner of that game moves on. So there's like 6 different teams have buys based on how good they did during the season. I love this kind of format, as opposed to hey, we have 8 teams, everybody plays a game, and then it's just a winner's bracket, or even a loser's bracket, something silly like that. These gauntlets that are set up by some of these smaller conferences are going to make for some incredible TV down the stretch.
Well, in some of the smaller conferences, it's imperative that they do it this way. The lower the conference, or the less,
you got to reward the champions. You
need your best team in the tournament, from recruiting, all the different things that go with that. And a lot of these conferences, right, wrong, or indifferent. And this year, there's going to be a lot left out because of how deep the SEC is.
13 teams may get in from the SEC.
And the Big Ten's pretty deep. And certainly the Big 12's deep. You've got these conferences that have, they've got some top dogs that are going to win the conference, Houston, Auburn, those type of teams. But you've got a deep, deep run. So that penalizes some of these lower conferences. So it's imperative that they get their best team. It was Virginia Commonwealth. I was seeing a thing on them. I think it was VCU. That this is a very dangerous team, and a team that can definitely do some damage in the tournament. But if they slip up and don't make it, they may not make the tournament. So
Hmm.
you've got a bunch of these different conferences. In basketball, there is so much parity. You see that within the big conferences, but even when you go down to some of these smaller conferences, yeah, nobody's afraid of anybody. I've talked about this for years. AAU is alive and well. A lot of these players that are playing for, Creighton and a lot smaller schools, Fairfield and schools that you guys never heard of, Canisius and Iona. Those types of, they have players that have spent their entire lives playing against the guys that are playing for North Carolina, the guys playing for Kentucky, guys playing for Auburn, Alabama, and Houston, those type teams. So when they see them, they don't care. That's why you have upsets, especially against the number in these tournaments, because these guys, it's not like football where you just have to have so many good players to execute to pull that upset, or you have to have turnovers on the other side. Basketball's not that way. They show up, they're not blinking. These guys have played these. I played that dude since he was 9. What do I care? You know what I mean? So it's that type of mentality. So, but it makes it a lot more important that they get the best teams into the tournament. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm okay with them tweaking that a little bit. I'm okay with them expanding the tournament. I understand football. I don't really care that much, and people will roll their eyes when I say, "Well, I'm okay going more than 64." In college basketball, especially the way it is now with NIL and transferring and portals and all those type of things, it does take some time to gel. And so you might have a team that won 2 games during the first month and a half of the season that's in a mid-conference or a lower conference. By the time they get together at the end, this team's pretty dangerous. For me, it doesn't bother me. I'm not, I'm not gonna stand on the soapbox for it. Expansion passes. Let's have 200 teams in the tournament. Let's get some high school teams in. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying I'm okay with a lot of teams getting into the NCAA because I understand the dynamic of not only college basketball, but the players within that sport are okay pulling the upset a lot more likely than Marshall is if they happen to get in the NCAA football tournament.
Kentucky's basketball coach was saying that playing a 31 game schedule just isn't enough for the way college sports is structured currently. He would like to see it stretched to a 40 game regular season schedule and expand the tournament. So I get both sides of it. There's something romantic about the 64, the bracket and everything else. But I mean, there comes a point of like, okay, this is too much. And I feel like we're really close to the upper end, at least when it comes to the tournament. I'm all for maybe even lengthening college basketball season a bit to maybe start a little bit either earlier or end a little bit later. But then you're encroaching into football season versus encroaching into where the spring semester where like most people don't care about baseball or softball. So though it gives a little bit more reach if they were to extend it.
To me, I'd laugh at that comment. It's a little bit like going up to like a 400-pound dude that eats all the time and eats everything, and him saying, "You know what? I got a good idea for my weight loss. I'm going to start taking laxatives every day. I'm going to go to the bathroom a lot more." I mean, that to me, expanding college basketball, the amount of time and the amount of games is not. Them not having any cohesiveness is a symptom of the sport. The
Mm-hmm.
problem is the fact that everybody's transferred around in NIL and it's a wild west. That's why nobody knows everybody. That's why you're bad. I don't know that that the right fix is to acknowledge and admit that that's the way college basketball is always going to be and college football is always going to be. So let's start extending the season to give them a little more time to gel for that 1 year, and then they're going to move on and do the same thing the next year. To me, it's let's tighten down. And at the risk of sounding like somebody that's not for players' rights and them making money, I do not want to go back to the old way of doing things, but there have got to be not only a more equitable way of handling college athletics as far as where the money's going, who's going. The idea that jackass quarterback from Georgia, Carson Beck, is down in Florida getting his house robbed and got 5 Mercedes and the Lamborghinis in the driveway and passed on the NFL draft. There's something wrong with college football.
It's silly.
If you're good at football, go make the money at the next level. Don't just take advantage of some cocaine sniffing alumni dude down in Miami wants to throw $5 million a year at you, so Miami will be relevant. Give me a break.
Yeah, we've allowed the system to be broken, and if the NCAA had any kind of backbone, they would step in and do something. But they know that they will lose money if they do that. So,
and I'm not going to be one of those that stands on the how do we fix the current system the symptoms of the current system. I'm going to be, let's fix the system. Let's fix
Yeah.
what's causing this, not the byproducts of these decisions. So FatJackSports.com, get signed up today, start winning money. Let's look at Brandon. We talked about teams covering the number at a high rate last week, and we're wrapping up the end of the college season. Now, I've said this before. Even if we had a very lucky and very profitable end of February, I've always said the weeks leading up to the NCAA tournament, and really actually not NCAA, to the conference tournaments, are traditionally very difficult. They're not easy because
Well, you get senior day, you get motivations for, hey, this is the last time we're going to play this team before they go off to another conference. It's second time that rivals get to see each other. So yeah, I can see how this is a difficult time to try and pick winners.
So Houston has locked up the Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
Auburn's locked up the SEC. I think.
And are both going to be number one seeds regardless of what happens this week.
So what are you getting out of their players in these last few games? And this goes I use those examples, but this goes through the entire sport. You have teams that are not playing. They're not on a bubble. They're not going to make the tournament. Other teams have already made the tournament, but they're waiting to, they've got NCAA tournament and they've got conference tournaments that are going to boost their seeding. You've got,
or they're lower level teams who who may have won the regular season conference, but they know if they don't win the conference tournament, they're not in.
They're out. So they're going to handle the last 2, 3, 4, 5 games different. And frankly, in the lower conferences, where a lot of times you have to make your bread, you can't make a lot of money during the regular season of college basketball just betting on the Big 12, the SEC, and the Big 10. You have to find the value in some of those lower conferences. But the problem becomes it's just a very short-term problem. It's just a couple 3 weeks, a couple weeks most typically, where you don't know exactly what you're going to get out of some of these teams that their destiny, at least the short term, has already been determined. So that, as you said, they're either going to make the tournament and they're not going to be a number one seed. They need to get ready for the conference tournament, or in these lower seeds, what they've done to this point really doesn't matter because it's either win the conference tournament or nothing. In the case of those teams, they're going to do things differently in those last 2, 3, 4 games, depending on their seed. So it's a different game. And I've maintained, Brandon, we talked last week about me going to some spring games and doing some things in college football, that I have maintained that I am in that zone, that group between the old school, old handicapper that's done things a certain way for 20, 25, 30, 40 years or whatever, and they're resistant to the change of the sports. And I'm between them and the guys that are below 30 years old that literally don't even know what they don't know. That are doing this. I'm in that zone where I am perfectly aware that especially college sports have changed and are changing, and I will tweak what I'm doing to make sure that I'm maximizing my wins because I understand every season counts. And if we have a down season for whatever reason, I will figure out why. Well, in college basketball, this is one of those consistent trends that really isn't changing right now, where for a couple weeks leading up to it, you got to be real careful on what you're throwing out there because these teams' motivation shifts, and it shifts like overnight.
And it becomes just a difficult situation to, maybe even as a client to be like, hey, in January, I was getting 5 picks on a Saturday, where on some of these weeks may only get 3 or 4 just because of that we're, pulling back a little bit because of how difficult this week traditionally is.
Well, and on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, those type week days,
getting one pick.
Yeah, where normally you would get, and a lot of it depends on how we're running too, because I've done this long enough to know I don't chase, but you would get 3 to 5 plays on a Monday, 3 to 5 on Tuesday, and that's going to happen this year also. We head into in the fall, but it's going to happen again. But there's an ebb and flow of the sports gambling, and that's the big difference, Brandon, between gambling for fun and gambling for money. It's totally different. And when you sign up,
we're not out here throwing out, hey, today's top 6 picks. I mean, that's not a long-term solution.
I'm not interested in having fun gambling on sports. What I think is fun gambling on sports is making money. That's the only thing that's fun about it for me at this point. Right, wrong, or indifferent. Listen, I've sacrificed myself so that guys that sign up, they don't have to, because this is not the same game for me that it was when I was 25.
Idiots like me get to have the fun.
Everybody else,
you've got to do the work.
Every client gets to have the fun. And you know that there's a filter between, by the way, I'm going to get back to who's covering, but there's a filter between what I want to do as a recreational fun gambler and what I'm going to do based on my only objective being making you and myself as much money as possible. That's all I'm doing. And so you get that filter built in when you sign up at FatJackSports.com. Teams covering the number in college football this year. Florida is the best. They're 72% cover rate. They're not number one in the country, but they're the number one of teams that anybody cares about. So UCSD's first, Florida A&M, Robert Morris, nobody cares.
Not making the tournament, yeah.
And if they do, then we'll look at that again.
Right,
UCSD's covering 82% of the time. How have we not been
That's
on
obscene.
that? My gosh.
That is crazy.
Florida, 21-8 against the spread, 72% of the time. Dartmouth out of the Ivy League doing really well against the number, 17-7. We talked about this a week or two ago, and I'm just reiterating it because it just shows how difficult it is if you're a television watching gambler, where you turn it on, who's playing today, let's get money down on that. The next team that comes up that anybody might be looking at regularly, Michigan State, 19-9-1, 67% cover rate so far this year. Virginia Commonwealth, which I talked about them earlier, it'll be interesting to see if they make the tournament. We're going to bet we'll make some money on Virginia Commonwealth if they get in. They're also 19-9 against the spread, almost 70% cover rate. When you get down into the teams that everybody likes to watch, Brandon, they're covering about 50% of the time or worse. I mean, BYU's still doing really well. We made some money on BYU and actually should have made more, but they're 18-11, 62% cover rate. St. John's with Patino and everything he's got going up there, 17-11. They're a team that he knows how to get his teams to peak at the right time. Auburn, which is probably the most impressive story of all of them, 17-11-1 against the spread, 60% cover rate as one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the country, not just recently, but most of the year. So
yeah, going to probably be the number 1 overall seed and covering more often than not.
Yeah, but when you get down into the teams that everybody would like to watch, Louisville and Iowa State, Alabama, Missouri,
Memphis,
Georgetown, Cal. I'm just rolling through here. Syracuse, 3 games over. These are teams that, after you factor in juice, are not going to win you a bunch of money. Tennessee, Texas Tech, Ohio State, those teams just 2 or 3 games over. So the point is, guys, if you're a guy that likes to turn on the TV and bet accordingly, and if I didn't mention your team and it's a popular team in a popular part of the country, you're losing against the spread. So just a couple more that are not turning a profit at all against the spread. Teams like Maryland, Marquette. We have a lot of people in Wisconsin that listen. Oklahoma, 1 game under 500. Who else down here? Abilene Christian. I mean, these are all teams losing. Texas, abysmal and really bad after we, turned into 2025 against the spread. They're 13-15, 46% cover rate. Oregon not doing well. Temple not doing well. These are typically teams that do pretty well. Kansas, how you'd like to be betting up in Lawrence every day on the Jayhawks. 3 games under 500, not winning anything. You got to factor in those losses. If you didn't follow me, I gave you Houston to win the Big 12
before the season even started
at 3 or 4-1. So if you're one of those Kansas Jayhawk fans, you're 3 games under, you're not winning anything of importance, or at least right now.
And you're probably not making the second weekend of the tournament.
It's going to be tough. I mean, this is a team that looks very, very human right now. A lot of people say, well, now that everybody can pay players, it's all balanced out. So just some interesting stuff from that. Michigan, 13-16 against the spread, not covering a bunch. We played against them, what was it, on Saturday or Sunday?
Yep.
And won money. But Illinois, who blew them out.
Then you talk about a Jekyll and Hyde team. They either win by 20 or lose by 20.
Yeah.
There's no in between.
And I've been watching them for literally about 3 weeks, waiting on a spot, and that was the spot.
That was Sunday, yep.
And I knew going in, if I was one of those 5-star lock of the millennium, whatever, guys, I would have 5-star locked the millennium in Illinois.
There would have been billboards. Those digital billboards across the country would have had your face on them. Sign up for this game. It is the game of the year.
You get the world for free if this doesn't cover, because that was definitely. But I wasn't going to go there. And through about midway through the second half, or for start of the second half, it didn't look like an easy one, but then it got easier as we went along.
Yep.
So FatJackSports.com, get signed up. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. I got a couple of different things I want to talk about. One of them is money management and how you handle some of these offshore these sports books that are out there. I got limited by one the other day.
I got limited by one the other day. Interesting story, but that's probably for different reasons. But yeah,
well, let's see if they're the same one. Maybe they've tweaked some stuff, because I take a lot of pride in not being limited, being able to spread out my bets, do some different things to stay off the radar. all that kind of stuff. And it's been a while since I've been limited. So, but we'll talk about that. We'll talk about a lot more. We're going to get you ready for the weekend, ready to make some money as we spring into March profit. Go to FatJackSports.com. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Fat Jack Sports Hour.
Hey guys, this is the Fat Jack. Are you finally ready to get a better plan betting the games this year? Let me help. Go to FatJackSports.com, where we understand that it's not the gambling she hates, it's the losing. FatJackSports.com.
If you want to stay in touch with everything related to the Fat Jack, follow us on all the socials: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, you name it, we are there at Fat Jack Sports. You can also watch the Fat Jack Sports Hour on YouTube every week. Get free winners and tips on how to become a better sports bettor. Plus, see Jack's appearances on the nationally syndicated TV show Beat the Odds. Stay connected with the Fat Jack Sports Service at Fat Jack Sports on all the socials and on YouTube.
Before the ball is tipped or a shot is even taken, before the crowd explodes or history's made. If you're going to bet, have a game plan. Bet legally, set limits, and keep it fun. When gambling becomes a problem, visit responsibleplay.org to find help.
Welcome back to the Fat Jack Sports Hour. And now here is our host. He is our team captain. He is the Fat Jack.
Thank you, Brandon, so much. Fat Jack Sports Hour, segment number 2. Getting ready for the weekend. You're excited about spring forward?
I suppose. I'm up so early that it is going to be weird to like go to work and the sun be up. So that'll be nice. But I can go either way with it. Honestly, I've come to accept that it's one of those things I can't control. So it's just going to happen.
That's a much more healthy way to look at things. I cannot wait. I will go to my dying grave. I was the guy screaming from the rooftops we needed a college football playoff system, though, when everybody was saying it'll never happen, Jack. Everybody's
yeah. Now look at us.
Now we are so deep into playoffs that we get mad about other things. So, Fat Jack Sports Hour segment number 2. I went skiing last week again, and which I think helped.
No jumps this time, though, hopefully.
No jumps. No, you can if you want to see me jump, you can go to YouTube and look up Fat Jack Look Before You Leap. One of the worst decisions I ever made is there. I still find that entertaining. I'll have people reach out and say, "Hey, I saw your YouTube video of you
from like 16 years ago."
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah, Jack was like 8, and he's now 25. So. Anyway, skiing, had a good time. Since I lost weight, it's a lot more fun. Before it was just so hard to do everything, but I did find myself on some runs. The runs are interesting, Brandon. You have runs out there that are called, Satan's Crotch and stuff. I mean,
a little intense.
You don't want to end up on Satan's Crotch ever.
That's probably a bad day.
Yeah. Or I found myself on one called Psychopath. The last thing that a 55-year-old skier needs to do is find themselves on Psychopath. The other thing that's interesting, you don't ski, right? But I will tell you,
I'll snowboard, but I won't ski.
There you go. Which is even harder. I mean, more up and down, all that. I do not wear, and I'm going to say this, and everybody's going to lose respect for me immediately. I do not wear a helmet when I ski. And I don't know if you've been skiing lately, Brandon, but I looked this time at the entire mountain. There were 2 of us, me and this dude that looked like Chris Farley's poor brother, that did not have a helmet on. Everybody else had a helmet on. Everybody wears a helmet now. And unfortunately, I went and looked to buy a helmet, but I literally could not get myself to pull the trigger. I haven't crashed in skiing in, 10 years. I grew up skiing, I could ski all of the runs. I could ski I could do it all. But it's still, you have one accident, you hit your head, and then you're in a coma. Nobody's going to.
Yeah, it's game over at that point.
And nobody's going to care. They're going to be like, "What? The idiot wasn't wearing a helmet?
Should have wore a helmet, right?"
Wow. We feel sorry for the jackass not wearing a helmet. So I'm on that struggle. I struggle. I did go look for one. I didn't buy it, but I will tell you, I don't know. It's my generation for sure, because younger people will hear this and they'll be like, "What kind of idiot is not wearing a helmet while skiing?" Because everybody there has a helmet on except me. I think I'm going to get
raw dog in the slopes, man. That's dangerous.
They make a helmet now that you have Bluetooth where you can actually talk on your phone while wearing the helmet.
Okay.
I don't talk on the phone a ton anymore, but I still think that might be reason to do it. But I'm back for. I'd love to know if there are other people in my age bracket that are old enough to where, because I should have said this, when we grew up, Brand, nobody wore a helmet, not one
No,
person.
no.
Um, and people skiing today would be like, gosh, that's stupid. It is stupid. It was stupid. Also, nobody's wearing seatbelt. You know, when you got in a car wreck, mom threw on the brakes. Her right arm was what saved you. I mean, she threw the brakes on. You reach out and save the baby over there. That's how you save somebody back in this.
It gets so ingrained in your DNA that I, a parentless or a childless person, sometimes will, if I have to hit the brakes hard enough, will throw out the right arm to like try and stop whoever's with me
Yeah.
from flying through the windshield. And oftentimes there's nobody there. So it's just ingrained in the DNA.
That used to be your only protection from death, was mom's arm or grandma's arm saving you. Nobody's wearing a helmet on the slopes. So everybody's riding in the back of the pickup truck.
Yep.
Nobody's up front. There's no air up there. Get in the back. You're like a golden retriever. Air blowing through your hair. So anyway, I'd love to know how many people out there I don't care enough to know, but I am interested how many people are young enough to where they know a time when nobody wore a helmet, but yet stupid enough to not adjust with the times and wear a helmet now. Because I apparently am in that group, although I'm getting ready to flip over and be one of those helmet people. So FatJackSports.com. Heading into the weekend, what are you looking forward to the most about the spring, Brand? We have a lot coming up. You know, you have the draft coming up. Football's at 24/7. I've talked about spring games I'm going to be hitting most likely. And then, of course, the tournament. So, and golf comes up. You going to play golf?
Yeah, I'm actually playing in a Top Golf league this week, kind of filling in for on a buddy's team. But it always Jamie and I's anniversary is the 18th, and that always kind of signals like the start of our golf season. So that coupled with, you know, I mean, we got the majors coming up. That's always a highlight for me is when it's warm enough to actually go out and hit the ball.
And as soon as we get back where we're really, really dominating hoops, which it may be literally by the time this show runs. I mean, I don't think they also understand. When I release 1 or 2 games on a day, it's not like I've just handicapped 1 or 2 games. I mean, I go the same no matter what. I'll go about this time of year, I go about 20 deep in the different information, different stuff, and I'll do 20 games. And then I narrow that down normally to 5 or 6. And then within those 5 or 6, I figure out which ones are going to go out based on how strong the handicapping and the math and the algorithm, all the things I'm using, how strong all that is, will determine how many picks go out. If we're not running well, fewer go out. 1 pick a day, 2 pick a day, something like that. If we're running well, 3, 5, 6, all those will go out. But just because I'm releasing 1 or 2 games on a Tuesday doesn't mean that I've handicapped 1 or 2. I've still got the same 20 or whatever that have been done. So I look at those numbers, and when they start lining up, that's when more picks go out. So you had noticed this a few years ago. I can always you guys, you've said this before. I can always tell when things are going good because I'm getting 5 games on a Tuesday or 3, and that's absolutely not a coincidence. But I will tell you, as we're taping this show early in the week, everything started to turn. So we're not only the picks are much stronger, and you see that with the wins and losses also. Our top pick of the day, even through this debacle of bad beats, is hitting about 72%. I mean, top pick of the day, if people sign up, then I've got to sign up for that every day. Those have been hitting easily. Teams like Illinois last Sunday, teams like I forget, we lost it on Saturday, but hit it on Thursday, hit it on Wednesday, hit it on Tuesday. All the days leading up to that leading into last weekend, most of the time they were not just hitting, they were easy. So it looks like that, but when we start running stronger, my point to this is that you're going to see more golf bets. But the last thing I'm going to do is be struggling in one. As we open the show, Brand, I said people who are just on basketball, they don't care about soccer.
Yep.
They don't care about the 5-0 in the UFC. They don't care that we've had 3 losing weeks in soccer since June. They're stupid for not caring. I'll just tell you right now, it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard when somebody will reach out or somebody will say, well, his basketball sure when we're just rolling in profit because of the other sports. But I can't change somebody who is set in their way. So the last thing I'm going to do are throw, unless you're in the elite package, which you sign up for the elite package, you are basically saying, I want everything and anything all the time. But unless you're doing that, I'm not going to throw golf on there when basketball is not running that strong. But as we head into spring, getting a little more information on some of these golfers, and I do have a guy that's pretty good at golf. It's been sending me his stuff, so there will be some more of that coming up. We will not charge for that; it'll be free. So go get signed up for those other sports, FatJackSports.com. You get some golf this spring as well. I got limited. Who'd you get limited by?
Fanatics.
Fanatics. I don't have.
And it was because I was being greedy and doing some like arbitrage stuff to where it was like pitting one sports book against the other because one's offering a mispriced line, and it was a certain market which was like the made threes in the first 3 minutes, and their price was always different, and I got limited for how much I could bet on that one particular market.
I will tell you, I got. And that's they are smart. Their algorithms are super smart. I make a point.
Sure.
People out there that are gambling, especially if you're in one of the states that has legalized sports gambling, if you're gambling with Guido the Killer Pimp in Oklahoma or Texas, I can't help you because it is what it is. But if you're in one of these other states and you have multiple, you should always have multiple accounts. If you're betting any more than $100 or $200 a game, you should have multiple accounts. Shop the lines, get the best numbers because there are some weak spots in those numbers with the different games, the different sports. So I make it a point because obviously I'm not betting 100 or 200 a game to make sure I don't get limited because I don't want to have. First of all, I don't want the books to anybody to know who I am. I don't
Sure.
want
You want to be good enough to.
I make money, but I don't
make money, but not enough to where they are sort of. Everything revolves around, okay, if he's bidding this amount, we're going to raise the number, or we're going to change the availability of a line based on what factor.
It's the opposite of what everybody else seems to do in this world. They want to be known, and they want to be. I don't do a bunch of stuff because I don't really want to be known. I don't go on VEASAN every week. I don't do a bunch of stuff that I could possibly do because I don't.
Sure.
I'm not looking for that. What I want is to be left alone. I want to be able to beat a sports book out of $50,000 to $100,000 a year or more, and I want to do that 10 times through 10 sports books and nobody say a word.
Yep.
I want everybody to just be really happy that I'm gambling. So there's ways to do that, Brandon. So how you do that is you obviously are patient. You spread around the money. You don't beat them out of a lot at one time. And then what I do is I throw in, and I learned this from another guy that is good at this too. I throw in some parlays that are going to most likely lose.
Because that's what parlays do, as we've discussed many times.
They are. So every time I get hot with something, and the soccer's been a problem. It's the soccer they won't lose. They can't lose. So every game is like, and they go to two-way action in these FA stuff. Okay, perfect.
Yep.
I'll bet two-way. Yep. I prefer that. So, but now they started limiting the soccer, and actually one of them, Renee. No, I think I said on the FanDuel. Limited me on everything. Basketball.
Oh wow!
I know because the elite stuff in hoops had not been horrible, and
sure.
I'd run through it. Apparently, I didn't play enough because we were losing some during the last 2 weeks. I wasn't throwing the parlays in there because they're not going to lose and throw parlays. So what I do is when I'm winning, I throw but I'll throw some parlays just to throw them off the scent because that does. I know that for a fact that will, if you want to look like a losing gambler in the eyes of algorithms that are run by sportsbooks, and this is really the lesson to this part of the segment. If you want to look like a loser, play parlays. That shows them that you are stupid. And
you are frivolous with your money, and you will be their favorite kind of client because you're willingly taking a worse bet.
And so even if you beat them, that algorithm will tell them, it's fascinating stuff, but that algorithm will tell them, even if you're beating them, this guy's an idiot because he's playing parlays. And that algorithm sees that. And it's not a mistake that these sports books, Brandon, when you look at all their numbers are coming out. So Caesars estimated that NFL favorites winning at such a high clip cost their company about $68 million in revenue in the fourth quarter. All right.
In one quarter.
In a quarter. That came out from the – and so people – that's what's so funny about people say, Jake, you didn't have a great year last year. No kidding. I will gladly take that. Me and Caesars didn't make as much this year. But guess what? Me and Caesars are going to do better next year, for sure, and the year before that, and the year before that. I want to be on that side. My point is when you start looking at some of these sports books and their assessments of how their year was, you will see them specifically talk about parlays and how
successful they are for the sports
how
books.
how much money they're making, how beneficial they are to their overall bottom line. That is where they start and where they end. And so the ones that aren't doing as well, they will lead in with, our parlay numbers were down. We're going to spend more money on getting people in same game parlays, and our marketing dollars will go towards it. So the point is if you want to look like a loser, play parlays. Apparently, FanDuel did not care that I played some parlays. So I've got to figure out how to get without losing money.
Unlimited,
which is fine because, like I say, I have accounts with all of them. So it doesn't, especially this time of year, it doesn't hurt. During football, I do not want to be limited by anybody. So, so anyway, there's a little bit of a insight to how the spring is going at Fat Jack's Sports House, Fat Jack's house. So, fatjacksports.com. Get signed up. I need to say this before we talk about the NBA a little bit. Sign up now for the football season. This is the special running. It's over this weekend. It was supposed to be over Friday. I ran it through the weekend just to get people who are hearing these shows. You want to get the March Madness for free. Sign up for football right now at fatjacksports.com through the Super Bowl. One-time payment. You're going to get all the basketball between now and March Madness finals absolutely free. Sign up for football and basketball now. You're going to get the baseball season for free. And you're going to save a ton of money. You're going to save a lot more money. You're going to get this time of year free anyway. I shouldn't have to say that, but you look at the prices, it's not even close. You're going to get a lot more plays. You get a lot more money. You're going to get a lot more opportunities at money without paying extra money when you sign up now for that combo package through March Madness at through the Super Bowl at fatjacksports.com. Third thing, if you want to sign up for the inclusive everything package, either the elite or you want to sign up for just the one that gets you football, basketball, baseball, players props, soccer, UFC, all of that, those packages are on the website. Email the office before you sign up. I'll give you a $400 coupon code to save you $400 off that. Again, that runs through Sunday and Sunday only. So go to fatjacksports.com. Get dialed in. The bottom line to this message is get dialed in now. Do not wait until football season when you're going to pay a lot more.
$21.99 will get you football through the Super Bowl. That package alone in August is easily $3,500.
And you're getting the March Madness for free.
And you don't get the option to pay it off.
And you can't pay it off then. Yeah. So if you wait, you can't pay it off. You don't get March Madness for free. You pay a lot more. You sign up now. You can pay out.
You don't get baseball. Yeah.
Get baseball free, baseball profit, all that matter. I want to make you a winning gambler before football so that you don't give me a headache during football. So go to fatjacksports.com, get signed up today, and win. We want to talk a little bit about cover records. Oklahoma City has moved back up to second in the cover record. I've been watching since the All-Star break. I was curious to at what percentage Cleveland, Oklahoma City, with the trade with Luka on how the Lakers were going to do against the number, all of those type of things. I'm watching those pretty much daily. We're taking a few more spots in the NBA because of it, because there's been some money to be made there. So we're talking about that, getting ready to spring out of here, get the sun out past dinner time. So excited. I'm going to play a little more golf this spring, I think.
When was the last time you played 18 holes?
Oh, I played a scramble with my ridiculous nephew, who, anyway, we went out. I played a scramble with one of my buddies and my nephew and his buddy, and so that was like August maybe.
Okay.
I think it was getting toward football season, but maybe not in football season. I was going to be in town for just a couple of days, and this kid is a good kid. This kid's I really do love him, and he's my nephew, and so I went and played with him. Didn't enjoy it very much. It was windy, and I didn't play very well. The one thing about not playing, I've gotten really good at driving the ball. I hit the fairway a lot. I don't overswing a lot, and my short game was always bad. It was always the weakest part of my game, even when I played daily. And it's actually probably better because there are no bad habits when you don't play. You just go chip it.
Right.
Open up the club face, swing through, flop the thing up there, and see what happens. That to me has worked a lot better when I play. But again, I don't have a whole lot of rounds to go off of. So, back in the day when I was playing every single day or a lot, I mean, before kids and stuff, I was about a solid 5, a handicap. Maybe a little less than that some. And in the right course, I could break par possibly, but normally not. 5 to 8, somewhere in there. But I'd say right now, if I play but this last time I didn't hit the fairway. At the fairway, it's not easy,
It's hard. Yeah.
especially when you're not playing a lot. You don't have a lot of those shots. Um, but when I've been playing, I've been hitting the fairway a lot. It's shorter, and so I really I don't know that I'm probably double digits, but I'm not a 20. I could break 90. I could break 90 in any course around right now that I play. That type of thing. So I'm excited about playing just a little bit more, just to get a little bit back. Because I guess
It's definitely a use it or lose it type situation.
yeah, it is for some respect. In some respect, it's like skiing and like riding a bike, that it doesn't go
Sure.
anywhere. You talk to people who played golf since they were kids, and it always seems to just come back pretty quick. And for the most part, like I said, I was rough around the edges before anyway. But I'm gonna try to play a little more golf this spring. NBA,
My best friend's wife played in college, Jack. She plays 2 rounds a year. Will beat us each by 10 shots.
yeah, it's amazing. It's like
It's
it's like
ridiculous.
skiing. I mean, I took 15
Yeah.
years off of skiing, went back and still ski the blacks and ski them all.
Hmm.
Nothing went away. And golf is. I was a casual golfer when I was younger. Like I played baseball, football, basketball, and
Sure.
dropped basketball because I saw that I was white and under 6 foot, or at 6 foot. I thought, well, this isn't for me. So I played baseball and football all the way through, and then actually played golf in college for a year. But I did not play golf in high school. Just played around and stuff. But then after college, got really into it. But so that's not the same. But it does come back. I still get it around pretty well. But I'm gonna try to play a little more now that my kids are not in the house. So NBA, Brandon, Oklahoma City had gone through a little bit of a swoon after the All-Star break. Not only not covering, but not winning some. But it looks like they've kind of tied the boat. How much danger are the Los Angeles Lakers? Like, if you had to look right now, and you're like, okay, that team against Oklahoma, I understand the whole year, but we're just talking about the Western Conference now. All right?
Mm-hmm.
The Lakers 33-25-1 against the spread, covering about 56% of the time. But we talked about college teams getting better as the year goes along. How much more dangerous do you think the Lakers are going to be by the time we get to the playoffs or get into that conversation than they are right now?
I mean, 20 games left in the regular season, give or take, and you're running into potentially the greatest player of all time, the league's all-time leading scorer, a just turned 25-year-old all-star who has potential to be one of the top 10 players of all time, a decent cast, and everyone kind of understanding that it's a not necessarily a now or never situation, but it is a lightning in a bottle situation to where getting Luka on this team puts them in a position that they weren't going to be in November. They weren't going to be in early January. 20 games or so for this team still to gel. By the time they get in the playoffs, I mean, they're going to be the 2 seed most likely in the West. That's going to be a problem for anybody that they play, including Oklahoma City, who's only lost 10 games, 10, 11 games on the year. It's the amount of time that the Lakers have to get ready and gel should be a warning sign to not only the rest of the West, but also the rest of the
I'm
league.
just curious. You get them at 16-1 to win the NBA Finals. Where
are they to win the West?
Where if you're talking about Oklahoma City or Boston, the favorites, they're under 2-1. So there's a big gap there. Just to win the West, you're looking at they're third, 5.5-1. This is
okay.
But so you're still, them and Denver are tied 5.5. Oklahoma City's still minus 135 favorite. Like I said, I bring it up because we're just looking for value, looking for long. You're not getting value at this point with Oklahoma City. You're not getting it with Denver. Excuse me, you're not getting it with Oklahoma City. You're not getting it with Cleveland. You're getting it with Boston. There's no value with them. If you wanted to bet them, you get in a time machine, go back to September. Those days are gone. So, but if you're looking, the problem now is that 16-1 is a lot good money, but they have to win it all. I mean, that's not just winning the West. That's just not getting through Oklahoma City or getting through Denver. That is winning it all. So I don't know. I'm not saying I'm willing to jump on them or even like them in that spot. I just thought it's an interesting conversation because that trade. How is it to go in the office in Denver right now? In Dallas right now.
Oh God! You imagine being like a season ticket person. Season ticket sales, ad sales, in arena sales for the Mavericks right now has got to be just brutal.
Have they ever explained away the trade? Because that thing has gone down exactly like everybody's initial reaction is exactly how it's played out.
Yeah.
Their part of the trade's not even playing. He's out. He got traded over. He got a new place in Dallas. He's sitting around at the house, sitting by the pool. And Luka's out in L.A. living it up with LeBron. I mean, the whole thing is so surreal. I mean, how everybody doesn't get fired in Dallas, I don't understand how those people can even walk into the office. I would declare work from home day every day if I was
every day. Yes,
if I was an executive.
Stay in your bunker. Yeah, because I mean, when there were fans that carried a casket to the American Airlines Center, just honoring the end of the Luka Mavericks run because their chances of winning a championship are dead.
But if you're the guy that made that choice and you're the people that agreed to that, your initial response to that should be, well, look on the bright side. You're not seeing this. Let me show you this. I've seen none of that.
Mm-mm.
I've seen it be exactly what the guy called the casket thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Luka went to L.A. He's doing great, and they got a trade paying a guy millions of dollars to sit around the bench. I don't understand how anybody keeps their job who was for that trade. Makes no sense at all. It was the most one-sided, ridiculous thing since Dallas pulled off the same thing back in the day.
Herschel Walker. When they yeah, exactly. It almost kind of feels like that sort of public fleecing that the Lakers got away with. And honestly, if it wasn't the Lakers, I'm sure more people would be maybe a little bit more forgiving, but the fact that he went to like the marquee team
in the West,
it's just a dagger, man.
So now you don't get to just you have to beat him to do anything. I mean, to win the West,
he's still in your own conference.
You can't even wait wait till we see you in the finals. You can't even do that. You got to beat him to get the whole thing. Is insane.
Trade him to the other conference. You only have to see him twice a year. Nope, you're in the West. Yeah. You're going to play him more than once in your own building.
Insanity. FatJackSports.com, guys. If you don't want to have to dig through this, go get signed up right now. You get the weekend package. Soccer, I did another weekend package. We have people taking advantage of that. The thing about winning every week in soccer, except 3 since June, is that if you sign up for the weekend, you're probably going to win. And when you do, you're going to sign up for a longer package, which is going to save you money. By the way, every single person that signed up for soccer last week signed up for a longer package this week because they're not stupid. They tried it. They won. They said, you know what? I like the winning. I like the profit. Let's get through March at least. So you can get through March. You can go through May through the English Premier Finals or go through next year's Super Bowl, which right now is only $16.99, which breaks down to, what, $50 a week or so. Very, very inexpensive. You forget this is not football where it's $16.99 during football season. This is from now through the middle of February for all the soccer, and that goes all summer long in all these different leagues. So FatJackSports.com. Whatever you do, get in the system now, especially if you're thinking about doing it later because you're going to save a bunch of money. Any final thoughts, Brandon?
It is the final weekend before March Madness because I consider the conference tournaments to be quote unquote part of March Madness. If you have anything to do it this weekend. If you are kind of bumpy with your significant other, take them out. Make sure this weekend that they know, hey, I love you, but the next few weeks I'm
in Oklahoma. You go to the Hamilton, then you go to Mitchell's Jewelry, and then you go to ZT Cigars. And you get your wife smoking cigars because she's going to be alone a while. So those are your 3 spots this weekend for sure. And then if you wreck going over there, you go by and see Chris Hammonds. So there you go. If you're outside Oklahoma City, you ask for the last 25 seconds of your life back. None of that means anything. So, guys, have a great week. You're right. It's a great time of the year. March is here. We're going to make a ton of money. Thank you for spending an hour of your day with us. Until next week, for Brandon and the Fat Jack, this has been Fat Jack Sports Hour.